What's up, everybody? Welcome to the RCL podcast number 45. My name's theRCLman. How you doing? How's the audience doing? You doing okay today? Is everybody doing okay? Are you doing good? Are you doing good? Are you doing good? Good. Everybody's doing good. This past week, I went to West Virginia, and I was told that West Virginia would be a lot more hollers and hills, which I don't really know what a holler is. I guess it's just back in the woods. I don't really know. I thought it was going to be a lot more woods and country than it actually was. It wasn't. We went to a small town. I don't even remember what it was called, but essentially, Serena's grandma died, and we had to go bury her. She's already been cremated and everything. We just had to go put her where she wanted to be put, essentially. And we went up there. It's such a weird experience to go to a really small town. I mean, I guess it's not the smallest I've been to. I've been to smaller ones. But this one was like a energy town. So I know I've heard, with all the renewable energy stuff, and everybody talks about how, electric cars and all that stuff is like killing coal mines and stuff like this. I went to a town that had a coal mine, like a legit full-blown coal mine that was, I just saw like multiple football fields full of just black coal everywhere. And then I saw, we drove by a nuclear power plant, which you know what those towers look like. And when you just your typical, idea of what a nuclear power plant looks like. And so when we were driving by, they're like, oh, that's the chemical plant. I'm like, that is not a chemical plant. That is a nuclear power plant. And I don't know how to feel about it because I don't see any water anywhere. And I know that thing needs to be cooled down. So where's the water coming from? Anyway, so that's what I did. We went to West Virginia after we did the funeral and everything. We this was like a family trip. So after we went and did the funeral and everything, Serena's dad, this is where he grew up, so he wanted to show us all the places that, he hasn't been there in like 30 years. So he wanted to show us all the places he used to go to. Every place that he took us to was like trespassing. And I was just like, I didn't want to do it. We pulled up to the back of this company that was backed up to a river. The back of the building was on a river. And he was like, yeah, just go through, you know what I mean? We always used to hang out by the river, and we're just like, hey, that was like 30 or 40 years ago. There's a no trespassing sign there, okay? We're in a different state. I don't want to get in trouble with the law at all. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Anyway, today we've got to talk about Apple and Google both coming out with their arcade service, Apple Arcade, and then Google has something else coming out. We'll talk about it. And then Mixer putting ads on their videos, but not giving it to the creators, not giving any money to creators. But anyway, we'll get into that after this. If you're new here, this is the RCL podcast. Every week I go through some video game news, the highlights of the week, although it's really, I guess, highly tailored to whatever I give a shit about, basically. Let's see, I give you a little channel update if you're interested in how the channel's doing. Now we have some science added in there at the end of news just because I like some sciencey stuff. If you do want to be a part of the exclusive club that listens to the podcast, you can join me at youtube.com/theRCLman. Let's see, subscribe, dong the bell there so you get notified, join the Discord, watch the streams, do all the good stuff, whatever. You know the deal. So today, when it comes to news, I'm going to get into news here in just a second. There's been a lot of stuff about Borderlands 3, Death Stranding, Gears 5. Like, there's just a whole bunch of stuff about those games. There was one more, I think maybe the new Resident Evil that I talked about at one point. I'm going to skip all that stuff because, personally, when it comes to the Borderlands 3 stuff, I want to play that, and so I've kind of avoided anything about it just because I know eventually I'm going to buy it and go play it, and I just kind of want to avoid everything, be on social media blackout, even though I'm basically always on social media blackout. So anyway, other than that, those new games and all that stuff that I basically skipped, first thing we're talking about here is Mixer adding ads to its streams. So Mixer was in the news, recently because Twitch lost its biggest streamer, Ninja, moved over to Twitch. They paid him some amount of money. We don't know what that is. But anyway, they started showing ads on some of their Microsoft run channels and also on Mixer partner channels like Ninja's. The thing is that they're not giving any money to the creators. They stated that it's there to support the creators. Hold on, yeah, let me see this here. ultimately meant to support the creators, the ads were. But they're not, they wouldn't confirm whether they're going to give any ad revenue to the streamers themselves. And that's kind of like shady. Because you would want that to, this is, I mean, they haven't said no, they're not going to, and they implied heavily that they are going to at some point, but they're like trying to work it out. I don't know. It's a big company. So automatically, when you put a big company like that, you know, in a situation where they have to give money to them, seemingly a small person, I just don't trust it. And I feel like they're going to do exactly what Twitch does and give them barely anything. But who knows? Maybe eventually they'll start sharing it. And if they do, who knows? You know, maybe they'll become bigger than Twitch, or at least spark some change in the way that Twitch does things. So after that, Steam is getting an update. They got an update to their recommendations. So instead of recommending you the most popular game, like, you know, for instance, now I think it's like Gears and probably, Borderlands is Epic exclusive. Instead of it recommending just those big games, they tried to update the system to recommend things that's more tailored to what you want. And that, while I haven't personally seen any, you know, changes to my Steam recommendations, honestly, I looked at them and they were still saying like, hey, the big ones, you know. There were a couple of people who posted on Twitter, indie devs, who were saying that this new change did something that affected their wish list. So I guess how many people had their game on the wish list and how many people were, I don't know if it was pre-ordering or what it was. I have to find it later. But anyway, yeah, so it indirectly had an effect on some of the indie developers and their numbers, which obviously isn't good. And honestly, like I said, I haven't seen any improvements yet. But then again, I'm not on Steam for a lot of things. So that is. They also have a new update coming to Steam that'll be further out. I know they're about to start the beta test for it. That'll be like a whole new like UI, and hopefully that'll end up being good. I'm doing an awful job here, you guys. I'm sorry. It's 2:00 in the morning. All right, next up, Apple and Google both releasing their arcades. So Apple Arcade was announced at E3, I think, maybe. It was announced a couple months ago. And now they just recently had a big Apple event, and they showed some of the games that were going to be on there. There was Frogger was going to be on there, like a new Frogger. There was another game that was almost like anime sword fighting on motorcycles, but a rhythm game at the same time. It looked really weird, and it had some complicated name. I'm not sure. Anyway, you get that. It says it'll have 100 games available day one. It comes out September 19th, so only, 2 days away, at $5 a month for up to 6 phones. So, I mean, unlimited games pretty much, as long as it's, those 100. And then, $5 a month, 6 phones you can have it with. That's a good deal. The problem that I have with it is that I don't have any Apple products. So I don't, when this was announced, I'm like, some of these games look cool. I can't play them because I'm not in the Apple ecosystem. And if I'm honest, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go get an Apple phone. I don't want to go transfer anything. I don't want to, do all that. But that could be just me. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with all that. I have an Android phone, which is kind of the next thing here. Google has teased that they're going to come out with their own arcade-like service, and the prediction is that it's going to be $5 a month as well. They just said coming soon, so there's no real details on that, but they basically implied we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to, give you a set number of games, that you can choose from and play for $5 a month. So take that how you will. If I were to do either of those, it would be the Google one, just because, again, I don't have any Apple stuff. You know what I mean? But also, the thing about Apple is that they are working with some bigger, developers. So that's kind of why you're assuming that the quality on their games will be a little bit better. Let's see. So then that's it for the new stuff. Like I said, there were a lot of Borderlands 3 things and Death Stranding and stuff like that, and I just didn't want to touch any of that because I, plan on playing those later. This week in science, they have now invented a anti-solar panel. What's an anti-solar panel, you may ask? Well, an anti-solar panel is a solar panel that doesn't use the sun at all. It basically uses the difference between It's okay. I'm gonna try and get this right. I may get it hella wrong. I guess I'll link it in the description, and you can correct me or just read it yourself. This fucking fly. I got a fly around here that's bothering me. Essentially, it uses the difference in temperature to create electricity. They were able to essentially set this panel up just outside in the middle of the night. The front side gets cold and the bottom side gets hot, and somehow, I don't know, through magic of science, I don't know, it's able to create energy. So they basically were saying, hey, it doesn't make a lot of energy, but if they make some improvements to it, it could then make energy, for emergency lighting or just stuff like that, basically. Just lighting. If you have some small power need in the middle of the night, it should be able to handle that once they get through the improvements. And again, this is like brand new science stuff, so obviously we're years and years away from like an actual commercial product or something. But still, I thought it was really cool that they could harvest energy just from temperature difference in the air. And that was really, really fascinating. I'd really like to see how much, like, practically you could get done with that. All they did was light up a light bulb, or not even a light, like a little tiny LED, but the device wasn't that big. So if you had one that's bigger, presumably on a house, on the top of a house, just like a solar panel, at night you could also be charging, in the daytime your solar panels are getting electricity, but hey, at nighttime we're getting a small amount too. Or imagine if you could combine the two technologies. Who knows? Anyway, that was for This Week in Science. Now, last week I had a request because I had originally deleted the channel update section of the podcast. I had a request to bring it back. So since nobody else requested me not to bring it back, or nobody else, you know what I'm saying, I brought it back. So, for channel news this week, up to 352 subscribers. Yay, we're above 350. Now, I did have an issue where I'm at 352 now, but like 2 days ago I was at 349, and the day before that I was at 350. So I reached 350. I was like, yay, 350, awesome, I'm going to shoot a 350 video. And the next day it went down to 349, and I was like, guess I'm not going to shoot that video. And Saturday passed, and then it went back up. So I was like, oh, okay, 350 subscriber video, which was suggested to me, at 300, I think. Justice suggested I just do for the 350 subscriber video. Well, you know what? I'll just let you find out. I'll just let you find out later. I don't know if you guys are going to like it, but, I'm going to do it. Let's see. On Twitch, up to 85 followers. It hasn't really gone up much. Still waiting on those 3 consecutive viewers, but I can understand. I don't do a lot of Twitch streams. I would like to, honestly, because I feel like I've positioned myself to only do Rec Room on YouTube, and then everything else is on Twitch. So I'm like, maybe I should just start doing more stuff on Twitch, start doing more stuff on Twitch. So let's see. We talked about 350 sub. I've said before, Spooktober. I don't know if that's what I'm going to call it, but October, I'm doing all scary games all month, or I'm going to try my best to. I think I'll be able to do it. But so basically, I've already went through and collected a whole bunch of horror games. If you do have other horror games, cheap ones, maybe free ones, something like that, put them in the comments and let me know. Right now, I have got, because of Xbox Game Pass, I have Blair Witch, so I'm going to try Blair Witch. I've got to buy FNAF. I don't know which FNAF. Put down in the comments which FNAF is the best. I'll probably look it up as well. But FNAF VR, I'm going to do. Somebody is remaking FNAF in Rec Room, so I'm going to try that eventually. Phantasmal is a game on Steam that's free that looks horror-y, so I'm going to do that. Deceit, I don't know how Deceit's going to work, because typically you're in a group of people that you can all talk to. I don't know how that's going to work if I play it online, but I'm going to try it. Deceit, and then Dark Deception, which also I don't even remember what these look. I know what Deceit looks like because I've seen videos in it. I don't know what Phantasmal and Dark Deception look like, but that's the list I got so far. Send me your scary games. Put them on the Discord. If they're cheap or free, that's preferable. If they cost some money, we just got to see how my bills work out and everything, if I can do those. I've been kind of struggling for not struggling for content, but it's for the last month I've been doing Detroit Become Human, so I basically had an episode waiting all the time. now that I'm done with that, I'm kind of like, okay, where do I go? What's my next move? You know what I mean? Whereas on that one, it was like, oh, I'm on part 10. Obviously, part 11 comes next. Now I have to get back in that mode of like doing different Let's Plays all the time, or find another series I can focus on. I really would like to have a series I can like focus on, and it doesn't matter about the number. Kind of like a Minecraft series, but everybody's doing Minecraft, and I can't get into it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I did try to do Sky Factory 4, and it crashed my computer, so I can't do Sky Factory 4. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to be it for podcast number 45. If you did like it, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, everybody. RCL Man out.